I call to order the Etna Township Board of Trustees special meeting here on Friday, October 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Burkholder?
Here.
Ms. McKee?
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Evans, seconded by Ms. McKee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes. Public comments. 3 minutes. Anyone like to speak at this time? Hearing none. New business. I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-053, authorizing the Township Administrator to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement Program to execute contracts as required and declaring it an emergency action. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. At this time, I'll defer to the Township Administrator to give us some background on this.
It recently came to our attention that for the Pike Street project that some additional dollars were going to be necessary. Therefore, we thought that this was a good opportunity to seek some additional grant dollars to help offset those dollars. And I do just want to note why I ended up splitting. I did send a communication, but I ended up splitting them because OPWC only wants their stuff in the resolution. They don't want anything extraneous. So it's the same topics, just split into 2 resolutions. And so this is it. It's due November 1st, hence the emergency nature of getting this passed. We anticipated being obviously submitted prior to the 1st, but they needed to go ahead and be able to start getting the work done on that. So,
Any questions?
I do have a question. If we're submitting for OPWC Grant this year for Pike Street, can we also submit the following year for additional parts of Pike Street, or is this only for the certain section that would be incurred next year for that project?
Yeah, this would be for from 310 going east.
No. I'm talking time in my discussions with the administrator that previously we were looking at, and it didn't seem like the other board members were fully in favor of doing the Etna Proper. However, I'm trying to understand as it was explained to me, this grant is for work next year, so that work that's going to be done, is that only for this grant, and then the next year we can apply for those other costs, or is this one and done for the project?
I believe we have the ability to submit. You actually have the ability to submit multiple grants at once, although you're required grant applications at once. However, you're required to tell them what your priority is, so it doesn't really help you to do more than one at once. One of the things to remember is the fiscal year for them is July to July.
That's right.
So this is going to help with any of those. We will run into 2026 for some of the expenditures under this grant, but it does not stop us from applying next year for whatever dollars we feel that would be then for the 26, 27. So we're not precluded, no, from filing. And again, we can file more than one, but again, they usually discourage that.
Okay, and then did we have a copy of the stage 2 estimate that they're going to use to submit to them for the costs, or no?
We have not been provided that document yet.
Ms. Burkle, do you have that?
The stage 2?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be in the application. I think it's right around 3.8 plus million. And then there is talk also of administration management. And so we're required for 20% of that. And so this would be something that would obviously not, this application would not obviously not cover all of that 20%, but it would be another grant opportunity to cover the cost of the reconstruction of basically what's called phase 1, which is from 310 out to the property line of the High Point development.
Okay, so the stage 2 does not include any of the western portion of Pike Street?
Well, you bring up a good point. It gets a little confusing on terminology. We're in stage 2 planning for this. They call it phase 1 and phase 2, but yes, it does not cover anything going toward the west. As I think you know, and I think the board knows, some of that engineering we've paid for some of that engineering already. But these funds, if awarded, would apply to the phase 1, which is just the east side.
Okay.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. I'll move to adopt resolution 2024-054 approving a services contract with Verandas LLC, authorizing the township administrator to execute the contract and declaring it an emergency action with the striking of the late fees from that contract. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion. You mentioned late fees. What is, you said striking?
Yeah, and I'll have the township administrator go ahead.
One of their terms is that if we are late paying their late fees, that of course cannot be charged against the township. Therefore, we're asking that be stricken. I would strike that and then sign it with it stricken and initialed. But that our motion be, or that our adoption include the striking of any late fees included within the contract.
Yeah, I brought that up to the administrator earlier because the prior contracts that have been reviewed by the prosecutor, late fees were not allowed. I still have some questions on that, but the administrator seems to agree that that's the standard for municipalities and townships, so I think it's just prudent.
And this is a $2,500 contract for them since they had all the information on this project, it made sense to have them go ahead and put it together.
One other thing just to state, I know it's needed just because of the late point of this, but I think dealing with this earlier, we could have just done it ourselves. So I think in the future, I know we're working on that transition, but we really got to make sure that we transition fully over and start dealing with it.
Well, let me just add that you actually have to get onto their electronic site, and you have to have permission from the township to do it. So it didn't make any sense for us to try to navigate that system. I don't know if we've even done it that way in the past. So this was a good use of money. Plus, they already have the estimates and everything, so they can plug it in very quickly. And there is a 10-question narrative as well that if they need any assistance, we'll assist with that part of the deadline next week.
All right. Well, we've done it ourselves.
Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I need a PO for this 25, right? The 2,500.
Yes.
And just regarding discussion, we've submitted these applications before through the township. It's not that complicated, but my point is these expenses were known for quite a while, Mr. Burkholder, and it should have been raised earlier. We'll have to deal with it now. I do know that this is the only way to really get it filed on time now, but again, it's about providing that information prior and bringing things in a timely manner.
Well, let me just explain something to you, Mr. Evans, since you want a discussion on this. First of all, we didn't know what project we were going to go forward with. We just found this out recently during a Pike Street update, and the recommendation was made. For quite some time, I've asked, how are we going to pay our portion from this, and I've not gotten any answers from anyone else on the board. So it came up at the meeting. It was a recommendation by Bill Lozier at the TID. It made a whole lot of sense, and I certainly hope that we'll be successful in this regard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Any public comments at this time? Hearing none, announcement and trustee comments. Of course, our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, November 5th at 6 p.m., but we also have a public input meeting scheduled for October 29th, Tuesday from 6 to 7:30. And we will be having a public input and presentation on the Pike Street project, and that'll be held here at Town Hall. We'll have members from Verandas, also from MKSK that's working on this project. It will be a special meeting because I anticipate that all three trustees will want to be here.
Yes, yes.
Is there any other comments from my colleagues regarding to trustee comments?
I don't have any.
Mr. Evans?
The only question you brought up with the public input, we're making a special meeting. Isn't this basically just a open house workshop? What is the requirement necessitating it to be a meeting?
I don't want there to be any question with three trustees in the room, as there has been in the past around this meeting. So it's a special meeting. We'll open it up, and then we'll go into a very informal format where residents or interested parties can go around to the various stations. We will have the long scroll that we had the last time, Mr. Evans, that we had the meeting, the informal meeting here at the town hall. We'll also have some displays from MKSK, some renderings, so that people can kind of get a feel of what that will look like. So I want to make sure that we're totally transparent with this, and no one says, well, I saw the trustees having a discussion or asking a question, and it wasn't an advertised public meeting. And we'll put that out again also on the listserv, so that we try to get it as widespread as possible. Anything else, anyone? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second. We stand adjourned
Thank you.
at 6:12. Thank you.
We don't vote?
Roll call,
Mr.
please.
Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Thank you.
I needed was 30 more seconds for you not to see that. On here.